Jake Reaper Morrison was filling up his Harley at a rundown gas station on the edge of town when he heard crying. Not the kind of crying that comes from a scraped knee or a dropped ice cream cone. This was the sound of a soul breaking. He looked up from the pump and saw her, a little girl, maybe 9 years old, sitting on the curb near the air pump, dark hair tangled and greasy, clothes that hadn't been washed in days, and eyes that had seen things no child should ever witness. She was rocking back and forth, arms wrapped around her knees, sobbing into her dirty shirt. Jake had been riding with the Devil's Brotherhood MC for 22 years. He'd learned to mind his own business. Keep your head down, help your brothers, don't get involved in civilian problems. That's how you survived. But something about this kid pulled at him. Maybe it was the way she kept looking over her shoulder toward the convenience store, terrified. Maybe it was the bruises on her thin arms. Or maybe it was just that after everything that happened with Emma Chen 6 months ago, Jake couldn't walk past a child in danger anymore. He finished pumping gas and walked over slowly, making himself small and non-threatening despite his size. "Hey, kid. You okay?" She looked up at him with red, swollen eyes. For a second, she looked terrified of him too. Jake was used to that reaction. Leather vest covered in patches that marked him as a member of one of the most notorious. He looked like exactly the kind of man parents warned their children about. But then something shifted in her expression, like she'd made a decision, like she had nothing left to lose. "Are you a bad man or a good man?" she asked, her voice cracking. Jake knelt down to her level. "I've been both. But right now, I'm trying real hard to be good." "Why?" "Because I need help. And all the good people already said no." That sentence hit Jake like a fist to the chest. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Chloe Morrison." Jake froze. Morrison, his last name. "Morrison." The girl's face crumpled. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "Tommy Morrison. He used to be in your club. He has the same patches on his jacket that you have on yours. But he doesn't wear it anymore." Jake's blood went cold. Tommy Morrison. 5 years ago, Tommy had been a brother. A prospect who'd earned his patch, rode with pride, stood with the club. Then he'd started using. The Brotherhood had tried to help him get clean, sent him to rehab twice. But Tommy kept using, kept stealing from brothers to fund his habit. Eventually, the club had no choice. They'd stripped his patch and kicked him out. Jake hadn't seen Tommy in 3 years. Hadn't wanted to? "Tommy Morrison is your dad?" Chloe nodded. "He told me you were his brother once. Before you all abandoned him." Her voice was bitter, repeating words she'd clearly heard many times. "We didn't abandon him, kid. We tried to help. He chose drugs over brotherhood." "He chose drugs over me too," Chloe whispered. And then she said the words that made Jake's world tilt. "Last night, he sold me. If this opening shattered you, drop a comment saying save her. So this message reaches everyone." Jake's jaw clenched so tight he thought his teeth might crack. "What do you mean he sold you?" Chloe's voice came out small and broken. "He owed money. A lot of money. To a drug dealer named Marcus. Marcus said Dad had to pay $8,000 by yesterday or they'd kill him." She wiped her nose on her sleeve. "Dad doesn't have any money. He doesn't have anything. So Marcus said Dad could pay a different way." Jake felt rage building in his chest like a wildfire. "What way?" "Me." Chloe looked at him with eyes that had aged a decade overnight. "Marcus said I was worth $10,000. He said he knew people who would pay that much for a girl my age." "Dad said yes?" Jake asked, fighting to keep his voice steady. "She died 2 years ago. Cancer. After that, Dad started using more. We lost our apartment. We've been living in Dad's car for 6 months." Chloe pulled up her sleeve, revealing bruises in the shape of fingerprints. "Last night, when I said I didn't want to go with Marcus, Dad grabbed me. He said I was being selfish, that I didn't understand what it's like to need something so bad you'd do anything for it. He locked me in the car trunk while he went to get high. I kicked out the back seat and escaped. I've been hiding here since 4 a.m. Jake pulled out his phone. "What time is it now?" "Almost 2 p.m. 8 hours until Tommy was supposed to deliver his own daughter to a trafficker. 8 hours to stop the most disgusting betrayal Jake had ever heard of. Can you do that?" She studied his face. "You're going to call the police?" "Better, I'm going to call my brothers. And we're going to make sure your dad never hurts you again. Will you hurt him?" Chloe asked quietly. Jake looked at her. This little girl who'd been sold by her own father, who'd escaped and ran and had nowhere to go. Who'd sat on a gas station curb for 10 hours waiting for someone, anyone, to care? Your dad made choices that put you in danger. We're going to make sure he can't make those choices anymore.
Ow.
Chloe nodded slowly. Then she asked, "Are you really my uncle? In the Brotherhood, we call each other brother. So yeah, kid, I guess that makes me your uncle?" For the first time, something that almost looked like hope flickered in Chloe's eyes. Jake made 3 phone calls. First to Bulldog, the club's sergeant-at-arms. Then to Ghost, their tech guy. Then to Detective Sarah Martinez, who'd been working with the Brotherhood ever since the Emma Chen case. 20 minutes later, 6 Harleys pulled into the gas station. The sound of their engines was like thunder, drawing stares from other customers. Bulldog dismounted first, his massive frame casting a shadow over Jake and Chloe. "What have we got?" Jake stood, putting himself between Chloe and the rest of the club until he was sure she felt safe. Tommy Morrison's daughter. Tommy sold her to a trafficker named Marcus to pay off a drug debt. Exchange is happening tonight at 10 p.m. at some warehouse. Every single man went silent. In the motorcycle club world, there were lines you didn't cross. Rules that even outlaws followed. And selling your own child was the kind of betrayal that united every club, every rider, every person with a shred of humanity. "Tommy Morrison," Hammer said slowly, his scarred face darkening. "The same Tommy we kicked out for stealing from the clubhouse fund?" "Same one." "Where is he now?" Bulldog asked, his voice dangerously quiet. "That's what we need to find out," Jake said. "But first, this kid needs food, water, and safety. Ghost, can you run Chloe's information? Make sure she's not reported missing. See if there's any extended family." Ghost pulled out his laptop. On it, Jake knelt back down to Chloe. "You hungry?" She nodded quickly. "Come on. Let's get you something to eat while my brothers figure this out." Inside the gas station convenience store, Jake bought Chloe 2 hot dogs, chips, a chocolate bar, and a bottle of water. She ate like she hadn't seen food in days, which she probably hadn't. He also grabbed a hoodie from the rack and gave it to her. It was way too big, but it was clean and warm. "Thank you," Chloe said quietly, pulling the hoodie around herself. "Don't thank me yet, kid. We've still got work to do." Ghost came inside, his expression grim. "No missing persons report filed." Tommy never reported her missing because he knew exactly where she was about to be trafficked. I pulled up Tommy's last known associates. He's been crashing at a meth house on Riverside Avenue. Place is known to the cops, but they can't get warrants to stick because the owner's a CI for narcotics. "Convenient," Jake muttered.
Ow.
"There's more," Ghost said. "This Marcus. Full name, Marcus Vega. He's got a record. 3 arrests for trafficking, 2 dropped due to insufficient evidence, 1 plea deal that got him probation. He's been operating in this county for 6 years. Works with a network that moves kids across state lines." Jake felt that familiar burning rage. "And he's still walking free?" "System's broken, brother. You know that. Comment Brotherhood if you believe justice is coming for Marcus and Tommy." Detective Martinez arrived 40 minutes later, driving an unmarked sedan. She'd brought a female officer with her, Officer Chino, relation to Emma. But just as dedicated to protecting kids, Martinez took Chloe's statement while Officer Chen sat with her, offering comfort and reassurance. Chloe repeated her story, her voice shaking, but determined. When she got to the part about her father shaking Marcus's hand to seal the deal, Martinez's face went hard as stone. "Chloe, you're very brave," Martinez said when the girl finished. "I need you to know that what your father did is a crime. A serious crime. And we're going to stop this." "Can you arrest Marcus before tonight?" Chloe asked. "I need evidence," Martinez admitted. "Right now, it's your word against his. Marcus will deny everything, and without physical evidence or a recording of the transaction, his lawyer will get him released within hours. So we have to wait until he tries to buy me." "No," Jake said firmly. "We're not using you as bait. But we are going to that warehouse tonight, and we're going to catch them in the act." Martinez looked at Jake. "You're talking about an undercover operation. I'm talking about doing what needs to be done." "Jake, if you interfere with Martinez," Jake interrupted. Last time we had this conversation, we saved 12 kids from a trafficking ring. You told me if I ever came across something like this again to call you. I'm calling you. Now, are you going to help, or are you going to let a 9-year-old girl get sold because you're worried about protocol? Martinez stared at him for a long moment. Then she exhaled. Tommy's expecting to deliver Chloe at 10 p.m. We make sure he shows up, but Chloe doesn't. When Marcus and his people arrive expecting a transaction, we have them on attempted trafficking. You get your arrest, we get justice, and Chloe stays safe. How do you propose we get Tommy to show up without his daughter? Leave that to us. Tommy and I need to have a conversation anyway. Finding Tommy Morrison wasn't hard. Ghost tracked his phone to the meth house on Riverside Avenue. By 6 p.m., the Brotherhood had the place under surveillance. Jake watched through binoculars as Tommy stumbled out of the house, twitching and paranoid, his eyes sunken and hollow. This wasn't the man Jake had once called brother. This was a ghost wearing Tommy's face. Jake waited until Tommy got into his beat-up sedan, then followed on his Harley, keeping just far enough back to stay unnoticed. Tommy drove to a liquor store, bought a bottle of cheap vodka, then sat in the parking lot drinking and staring at his phone. Jake pulled up next to the car and knocked on the window. Tommy jumped, spilling vodka on his lap. When he saw Jake, his face went pale. Reaper. What do you get out of the car, Tommy? I don't have to. Jake pulled open the door, grabbed Tommy by his filthy jacket, and hauled him out. Tommy was skin and bones now, nothing like the solid rider he'd once been. Jake slammed him against the side of the car. Where's your daughter? Jake growled. Tommy's eyes went wide with fear and guilt. I don't know what you're talking about, Chloe. Your 9-year-old daughter. The one you sold to Marcus Vega last night. All the blood drained from Tommy's face. How do you did that little bitch run to you? Jake's fist connected with Tommy's jaw before he could stop himself. Tommy collapsed against the car, blood trickling from his split lip. You sold your own daughter, Jake said, his voice shaking with rage. Your own flesh and blood. For what? Another fix? Tommy spat blood. You don't understand, man. Marcus was going to kill me. I owed him $8 grand. I didn't have a choice, yet 1,000 choices. You chose drugs over your daughter? You chose your addiction over her life. It's not that simple. Yeah, it is. Jake grabbed Tommy's phone from his pocket. You're going to text Marcus right now. You're going to tell him the delivery is still on for 10 p.m., and then you're going to show up at that warehouse and face what you've done. Tommy's hands shook as he took the phone. If I don't bring Chloe, Marcus will kill me. Jake's voice was ice. Because if they don't, Tommy, you're going to find out what happens when you cross a line. Even the Devil's Brotherhood won't forgive. You were our brother once. That little girl is family by extension. And you sold her. Tommy's face crumpled. For a moment, Jake saw something human flicker in those dead eyes. Shame, guilt, regret. But then the addict took over again. I need something, Tommy whispered. I can't do this sober. I need to face what you've done, Jake said. Type the message. Type justice if you believe Tommy deserves what's coming at 9:45 p.m. The Devil's Brotherhood and Detective Martinez's tactical team were in position around the warehouse on the industrial side of town. The building was abandoned, graffiti covered, perfect for illegal transactions. Martinez had 3 unmarked cars hidden in the shadows, plus a van full of SWAT officers ready to move. Jake and Bulldog were positioned on a rooftop across the street, watching through night vision. Ghost was monitoring communications, ready to jam any signals if things went wrong. Tommy's car was parked near the warehouse entrance. Tommy sitting inside, shaking and sweating. At 9:58 p.m., a black SUV pulled up. 3 men got out. The one in front was tall, wearing expensive clothes, gold chains visible even in the dark. Marcus Vega. The other 2 were muscle, big guys with the look of enforcers. Jake's radio crackled. We've got visual on the targets, Martinez's voice came through. Hold position until the transaction attempt is confirmed. Tommy got out of his car slowly, stumbling slightly. Marcus approached him, smiling like they were old friends. "Tommy, my man," Marcus said, his voice carrying in the quiet night. "You got my merchandise?" "About that," Tommy stammered. "There's been a complication." Marcus's smile disappeared. "What kind of complication?" "She ran." "My daughter? She ran away this morning. I've been looking for her all day, I swear." "I'll find her. I just need a couple more days." Marcus grabbed Tommy by the throat and slammed him against the car. "You're telling me you lost my $10,000 investment?" "I'll get her back," Tommy choked out. "I'll bring her to you. I promise." "You already made me a promise," Marcus snarled. "You promised delivery tonight. You know what happens to people who break promises to me?" One of the enforcers pulled out a gun. "It's our cue," Martinez said over the radio. "All units move in." Floodlights exploded across the warehouse yard. Police vehicles roared in from every direction. "Police! Get on the ground! Hands where we can see them." Marcus released Tommy and spun around, reaching for something in his jacket. One of his enforcers fired his weapon not at police, but at Tommy. The bullet hit Tommy in the shoulder, spinning him around. He collapsed against his car. Screaming SWAT officers swarmed Marcus and his men. Within 30 seconds, all three were on the ground in handcuffs. Martinez approached Marcus, her face cold with disgust. "Marcus Vega, you're under arrest for attempted human trafficking, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and about a dozen other charges I'm going to enjoy adding. You have the right to remain silent, and I strongly suggest you use it." EMTs rushed to Tommy, who was bleeding and crying. Jake and the Brotherhood approached from the shadows. "Stay away from me," Tommy gasped. "You set me up," No, Jake said quietly. "You set yourself up the moment you decided your daughter was worth less than your next hit." He knelt down beside Tommy as the EMTs worked. "Chloe's safe. She's with child services, and they're going to make sure you never get near her again." "She's my daughter," Tommy protested weakly. "You lost that right when you put a price tag on her." "She's not your daughter anymore. She's a kid who deserves better than you." Tommy started sobbing, whether from pain or guilt or withdrawal, Jake couldn't tell. "Didn't care." Martinez walked over. "Jake, we need to talk." They stepped away from the scene. Martinez looked tired but satisfied. "Marcus is going away for a long time. We found evidence in his vehicle, photos of other kids, transaction records, burner phones with communications to buyers across 3 states. This is bigger than just Chloe. You just helped us crack a major trafficking network. What about Tommy? He'll face charges for attempted child trafficking and conspiracy. Even with the gunshot wound, he's looking at 15 to 20 years minimum." Martinez paused. "Jake, I know he was your brother once." "He stopped being my brother the moment he put his kid in danger," Jake said flatly. "Some lines you don't cross, ever." 3 hours later, Jake stood outside the County Children's Services building. They'd found an Aunt Tommy's sister, who lived 2 states over, and had been trying to get custody for months, but didn't know how bad things had gotten. Jake followed her inside to a small room with comfortable chairs and children's books. Chloe sat on a couch wrapped in a blanket, looking tiny and lost. When she saw Jake, her face lit up slightly. "Hey, kid," Jake said gently, sitting down across from her. "Did you find my dad?" "Yeah. He's going to jail for a long time, Chloe, for what he tried to do to you." Chloe nodded slowly. "Is that bad that I'm not sad about it?" "No," Jake said. "It's not bad at all. He hurt you. He was supposed to protect you, and he did the opposite. You're allowed to feel however you feel. Officer Chen said my Aunt Maria is coming to get me. I haven't seen her since I was little. She's good people," Officer Chen confirmed. "She's been trying to help your dad get clean and get you somewhere safe. She didn't know things had gotten this bad." Chloe looked at Jake with those old soul eyes. "Thank you for believing me. Everyone else did." "Everyone else doesn't know what it's like to be part of a brotherhood," Jake said. "Family protects family. And you're part of this family now, whether you like it or not, even though I'm just a kid. Especially because you're a kid. That's the whole point." Jake pulled a patch from his vest pocket. Not a full club patch, but a support patch, a small emblem that read "Protected by Devil's Brotherhood MC. This is for you. It means that if you ever need help, if anyone ever tries to hurt you again, you call us and we come running. Understand? Chloe took the patch with trembling hands. Really? You're one of us now. She clutched the patch to her chest and burst into tears. Jake did something he never did. He pulled the kid into a hug and let her cry into his leather vest until she had no tears left. If this broke your heart and rebuilt it at the same time, comment family below. 6 months later, Jake got a letter. It was addressed in careful, childish handwriting. Dear Uncle Jake, Aunt Maria says I should write to you and tell you how I'm doing. I'm good. I have my own room now with a real bed. I go to a school where nobody knows what happened. Aunt Maria took me to therapy and the therapist says I'm very brave. I put your patch on my backpack. A boy at school said motorcycle clubs are bad. I told him that the baddest looking people saved my life when nobody else would. He stopped bothering me after that. Aunt Maria says maybe next summer I can visit and meet all the brothers. I'd like that. I want to say thank you in person. I don't think about my dad much anymore. The therapist says that's okay. She says family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up when you need them. You showed up. Thank you for being my uncle, love. Chloe Jake read the letter 3 times. Then he folded it carefully and put it in his wallet, right next to the photo of Emma Chen hugging him at the community center. That night at the clubhouse, Bulldog noticed Jake smiling at his phone. What's got you looking almost human, Reaper? Jake showed him the letter. Bulldog read it, then passed it around to the other brothers. When it came back to Jake, every single man in that room looked at him differently. We used to be about territory and reputation, Hammer said quietly. Now we're about something that actually matters. Word's spreading too, Ghost added. I've had 3 other clubs reach out asking about our protocols for these situations. We started something, brothers. A movement, good, Jake said. Because there's more kids out there who need protecting. More Chloes and Emmas and Sarahs. And every single one of them deserves someone who'll show up. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered, Is this Jake Morrison? A man's voice, desperate and scared. Yeah, my name is David Williams. I'm calling from Nebraska. My teenage daughter disappeared from school 3 days ago. The police say she probably ran away. But I found messages on her computer from someone offering her a modeling job in California. They want her to come alone. She's only 14. I think someone's trying to take her. I don't know what to do. Jake looked at his brothers, who were already standing up, already reaching for their keys. Mr. Williams, where exactly are you located? Omaha. About 8 hours north of you. We'll be there in 7. Send me everything you have. Messages, photos, phone numbers, all of it. We're going to find your daughter. Jake hung up and grabbed his vest. The brotherhood assembled around him like they'd done 100 times before, but this time it was different. This time they weren't riding for territory or revenge or reputation. They were riding for something bigger. Something that mattered. Chloe Morrison was safe now. Living with an aunt who loved her, healing from wounds that ran deeper than scars. Tommy Morrison was in prison, where he'd spend the next 15 years thinking about the daughter he'd traded for poison. Marcus Vega's trafficking network had been dismantled, leading to 23 arrests across 4 states and 17 children rescued. But the work wasn't done. It would never be done. As long as there were predators, there needed to be protectors. As long as there were children in danger, there needed to be someone who'd show up. The Devil's Brotherhood rolled out of the clubhouse at midnight. 7 Harleys carrying 7 men who'd spent their lives on the wrong side of the law. Men who'd been criminals, fighters, outlaws. Men who'd finally found a mission worth more than themselves. Because sometimes the scariest men become the fiercest protectors. Sometimes family isn't about blood, it's about who shows up when it matters most. And sometimes redemption comes not from erasing your past, but from making damn sure the future is better than what came before. Jake thought about Chloe's letter in his wallet, about Emma Chen's drawing hanging in the clubhouse, about all the kids they'd saved and all the ones still out there needing help, and he smiled, because he'd spent 22 years being someone people feared. Now, he was someone people called when they needed a hero. And that made every mile, every fight, every hard choice worth it. The engines roared into the night, carrying a promise written in chrome and leather and brotherhood. If you hurt a child, we're coming. And we don't stop until justice is served. If this story changed how you see heroes, smash that like button and share it everywhere. Comment "Protect the Innocent" if you believe this mission matters more than reputation. And subscribe, because the Brotherhood's work is never done. There are more children who need saving. And we'll be riding into the night until every single one of them is safe. This is more than a story. This is a movement. And you're part of it now.